Hey, good Monday morning, everybody. Chris Gallagher here on the Preacher's Pen. It's about 9:35 Central Standard Time, so I'm glad that you're here. Sorry, we're a little bit later than usual. It's been a very interesting morning, but hey, I am glad that you're here. Thanks for being with us. I've got a bunch of papers scattered all across my desk, which you can't see, and actually, I'm pretty glad you can't see. But I wanted to go ahead and congratulate you, if I can, for a moment. Congratulations on making it to the fourth Monday of 2021. So thanks for doing that. Thanks for being here. Gary's watching. Thanks, Gary. I appreciate you tuning in. Great job this morning from Hebrews as you read through that. I wanted to share with you a couple things regarding, I don't know, attitude. We always say an attitude of gratitude and what that truly means and what significance that might hold in somebody else's life. But I believe one of the interesting parts of that is the ways that cultures view gratitude. In fact, I ran across this today and I wanted to share this with you, and also a story from Matthew Henry. Many people know Matthew Henry from a commentary that he put out regarding the Bible, but there's an interesting story about Matthew Henry's life I wanted to share with you just for a moment. But hope that you got your coffee. We're going to be here for about 10 minutes, so thank you for being a part. And let's see how it tastes this morning. Pretty good, pretty good. There was a story that I ran across while actually doing some research for a sermon that I preached yesterday on peace. The piece from Gideon, where Jehovah Shalom, where Gideon talks to the angel of the Lord, and I believe also talks to God, and builds an altar and says that the Lord is peace, or Jehovah Shalom. And that got me thinking about gratitude. We always talk about the attitude of gratitude, but what does that truly mean? Does it mean that we're just happy, or does it mean that we just smile all the time? What is that attitude of gratitude? So as I thought about that, I ran across this story. This is from the Maasai tribe in Africa. And it says whenever they wanted to show gratitude, what they would do is they had a phrase they would use. And actually, my understanding is still use it today. And it's called, "My head is in the dirt." Now, to you and I, probably reading this, it wouldn't make any sense. But what they do is the way that they would express thanks is they would go to somebody, they would bow before them, and they would put their forehead on the ground. And they would say, "My head is in the dirt." And the reason for that is kind of simple. It's the act of humbleness, or it's the act of humility. The quote that you have on the screen with you at this moment on this side is from Harry Truman, and it says, "A pessimist is one who finds difficulties of his opportunities, and an optimist is one who makes opportunities of his difficulties." And that reminded me of this from Matthew Henry. Matthew Henry was born in 1662, I believe, and passed away in 1714. That's been a little while ago. But I ran across this statement of his in a book called McHenry's Quips, Quotes, and Other Notes. And it says this. It says and you would know this, during Matthew Henry's lifetime, he wrote a lot of things about the Bible. And he has Matthew Henry's commentary, which is a pretty thick book. You can download it for free. I can show you how to do that later. But one of the things that was happened is one night he was coming home and he was robbed. Now, for you and I being robbed, that would throw off our day. That would throw off our evening. That would throw off our life. But for Matthew Henry, it became very interesting. And here's what happened to Matthew Henry. It says, Matthew Henry wrote in his diary that night, and this is what he wrote. He says, "I'm thankful that during these years I have never been robbed until now. Also, even though they took my money, they did not take my life. And although they had taken all that I had, it was not much. And finally, I am grateful that it was I who was robbed, not I who robbed." See, I think true gratitude can be found in places that often we overlook. We overlook many different things in our life that are points of gratitude. Today, outside, it's raining. Without rain, and I know a lot of people don't like rain. I happen to love rain. But without rain, how are the things on earth going to be able to grow? God sends the rain on the just and the unjust, the Bible tells us. It tells us that God watches over us. But when we think about things to be grateful for, what are some things that you're grateful for? I would encourage you to do this today. If you want to put some motivation in your Monday, and by the way, congratulations again to making it to the fourth Monday of 2021. But if you want to put some motivation in your Monday, just take about 3 minutes. That's all it's going to take. Take 3 minutes and write down 3 things that you're truly grateful for. And as you think about those things, think outside of the box. Don't just say that you're thankful for a cup of coffee. Don't just say you're thankful for sunshine. Don't just say you're thankful for life or health. But think outside of that box a little bit. We're grateful for those, but let's think outside of that. And let's see what we can truly be grateful for. Because remember, even though we go through a hard situation in life, we can be extremely grateful. I wrote down some things just very quickly this morning about what Christ was thankful for. And this is what I think about. Jesus was thankful for the common necessities of life: food, shelter, and clothing. Didn't matter how it appeared, he was thankful for food, for shelter, and for clothing. Jesus was thankful for little children. How many times have we heard people in church talk about noise of little children when we must understand that if there's no noise of little children, then it's going to be pretty quiet in the future. Something to think about. Jesus was thankful for answered prayer. In John chapter 11, at the prayer of Lazarus, after Lazarus was raised from the dead, Jesus was thankful. Jesus was thankful even for opposition. You read about that in Matthew chapter 5 and verse 44, and you see that Jesus was thankful even to those who were opposed to him. So it becomes very, very interesting, and many times for us, if we simply look outside of the box, we become like the leper in Luke chapter 17. Even though he had a really bad condition, we find out that in his healing, he was still very, very thankful. And I think that you and I, as Christians, we need to have the attitude of gratitude, but we need to look at it and remember who we are. And even though in our bad conditions, even though in a tough spot, we can see the greatness of having an attitude of gratefulness. And it's part of our lives. So I would ask you to think about the passage of rejoice always. But what does that really mean? We need to find the point to rejoice at. Rejoice because our sins are forgiven, because we have an opportunity of a new day, but also because of the grace and mercy that God has given us. Write down 3 things that you are thankful for, that you have the attitude of gratitude. And let me, if I can, just for a moment, let me leave you with one more story. The story is about Evelyn Bentz. Evelyn Bentz once was asked by a friend of hers to come and to visit a homeless shelter. And when she went to visit the homeless shelter, she did dishes at this homeless shelter. And she started to think about what it was like to be sleeping in this homeless shelter with people that you didn't know. As they slept there every morning, they had to carry all their possessions with them. They would leave in the morning, then they would go out into the world, and they would come back and they would sleep there that night. She found out that one of the homeless women had a PhD, had a doctorate in art history. So Evelyn's mind began to wonder. It began to process all the information. And it said that as Evelyn recounts the story, she silently prayed this: Lord, thank you. Thank you that I am not one of them. And when she prayed that, it says that Evelyn immediately felt guilty. And it dawned on her that she had a comfortable home, she had a comfortable world, but yet all of that was never guaranteed. So instead of thinking, I'm not one of them, she began praying a new prayer. She said, thank you for the grace, God, that you have shown me, and help me to mirror that grace to others. Even in our hardship, even in our difficult opportunities, we can still see the light, because God takes care of us, and God is going to be there for us. Think of 3 ways that you can write down. Write it on a Post-it note, put it up on your computer monitor, put it on your phone, write on your hand if you have to. But think of those 3 ways that you can be truly thankful for each and everything that God has done for you. It's time that we put motivation in our Mondays to see the mercy and the grace that God has provided to us. But thank you for being here this morning. Hope that you have a great Monday, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Be blessed.